Earlier, too. You almost had me fooled. Your imitation of Boss was perfect.
Yes, there's a reason for that. Let me define some terms first. A person's memory and sense of self. Let's call that personality. It isn't quite the right word, but it'll suffice. Now, transferring that personality into someone else's brain, let's call that parasitism. The one transferring is the parasite, the one being transferred into is the host. Are you with me so far? Moving on. Even after the personality exchange is complete, the host's memory isn't completely lost.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. That you would also have some lingering memories of the person that you got yourself into. In which case you managed to use Iris's personality to imitate her very well. Same thing with Boss, same thing with the rest.
About 1% remains in the brain. So, a parasite could use that 1% to imitate the language and behavior of the host. That's how I knew about the warehouse and Sunfish Pocket, by the way. Thanks to Renju and Iris's remaining memories. I'm telling you.
No.
It was... Why are you making me repeat myself?
That means the Somnium I entered on Sunday.
Okay, that spooked me a little bit.
That's right. It was me.
How? How does he know about the original Cyclops killer? Well, now it makes sense why the Somnium that we had earlier with Iris was like that. What we've seen were from the eyes of the original Cyclops killer. So that would mean that you, the new Cyclops killer, are also the old one, the original one. You were the one that killed all those women years ago. And something else was troubling me.
What's going on here?
Alright. Care to give us the details of each crime?
Before I do, there's something I want to hear from you. How did you know about the prototype sync machine?
Jesus Christ, this song.
And not only that, you also seem to know what the sync machine is truly capable of. Why is that?
That's...
Huh. That's true. We found out about the dangers of going past the limit in the other timeline. When we got knocked out. When we synced with Hitomi. And not only that, we found out about the existence of the sync machine at the Kawasaki District Chemical Plant, like, in a totally different timeline than this. Huh. I guess so. Maybe he's truly capable of that power as well.
Regaining your memories, are you?
Or maybe that. Nah, that can't be it. Or...
Human memory is fractal. If you retain even a single piece of it, it's possible to recreate the whole thing. Pieces of memories are like roots that grow into every corner of the brain.
So you're saying that maybe Date is finally regaining his memories from past 6 years ago? And that could also be possible. Maybe the old Date would know about such details.
Gradually, slowly, taking its time. I imagine the same thing is happening in your brain right now.
A fractal is a figure with self-similarity. Allow me to explain. See this? Whichever fragment you cut, you will see a similar shape. The whole is made up of its similar parts. This is called a fractal figure. Memories in the brain are similar. That is what he is explaining. He is claiming that from a few pieces, you can rebuild the memory.
I knew about the prototype from regaining my memory. Is that right? No, that's not it.
Parallel worlds exist.
Huh. So... it's either that or... Huh.
Fine. I still have time.
Time?
For what?
You'll see. So, where do you want me to start?
It's just past midnight on Tuesday. Shoko was killed on Friday. If we think of that as day 1, today is day 5. What was Saito doing those days? I decided to ask him. Okay. Let's just go through each of these. What did you do on day 1, on Friday?
Like you guessed, my personality was in Shoko, Renju's ex-wife. That made calling Renju easy. I need to talk to you about something. He came over without question. I think it was around 4 p.m. I had him meet me at the chemical plant. I made Renju go to sleep. Synced, switched personalities, and then stabbed Shoko's discarded body with an ice pick. I took Shoko to Bloom Park by car, using the old abandoned subway line. Must have been around 8 p.m. by the time I was finished. I tied up Shoko to one of the merry-go-round horses. After that, I used Renju's phone to send a Nile message to Mizuki.
Mizuki. Daddy got caught up in something serious.
Then, I just waited for Mizuki to arrive.
I see. Okay, day 2.
Until next Saturday evening, my personality was inside Renju. My next target was Iris. I knew she would be suspicious if I asked her to come to Kawasaki, so I asked her to come to Sunfish Pocket first. I called her a little before 5 p.m., and she arrived just after 6. I greeted her, then convinced her to come with me. That's when Ota saw us. Anyway, I put her in the car, then headed to the chemical plant. On the way, I made her take a sleeping pill. I knew she might run once she saw where we were going.
Huh. That little detail does make things different in our timelines. But okay, move on.
It was around 7 p.m. when I got there, and I wasted no time switching bodies. After getting Iris's body, I used a rolled-up apron to strangle Renju to death. Then I put his body in an empty oil drum I'd prepared earlier. I put that in the trunk of the car, then headed to Sunfish Pocket. But then, something I didn't anticipate happened. Waiting for the signal in Akiba, someone knocked on the window of the car. It was Ota. He asked me something about being able to drive. He was surprised, to say the least. I didn't have time to waste on him.
Yeah. That surely does explain how Iris would be able to drive the car. It wasn't necessarily that the car had an AI that would drive itself. It was you inside Iris's body, and he surely would know how to drive for sure.
But I couldn't risk him finding the oil drum in the trunk. Plus, if word got around that Renji's car was spotted driving around Akiba, that would foil my plans. So, I came up with a lie. I told him that I didn't have a license, so he had to keep it a secret. That's what that thing referred to in Ota's Nile messages, by the way.
Yeah, truly.
And just like that, I managed to escape a bad situation and headed to Sunfish Pocket as planned. The rest went exactly as you already figured out.
Alright. Sunday.
Sunday morning, I had a recording or some such thing scheduled. Oh, I am, of course, referring to Iris. I didn't want to draw suspicion, so I decided to attend, as planned. I went to Lemniscate and performed my job, and when I left, I ran into you, Date. To be honest, I was a little surprised. Just the previous night, I was a parasite in the body of Renju. I didn't think Ota had seen me. So, of course, I didn't expect to see you there so soon. You were on to me, but there was nothing I could do about that. If I ran, it would only increase your suspicion. So I decided to play my role. The interrogation began around 8:20 p.m., is that right? Then you synced into my mind. But you didn't get what you were looking for, did you?
I mean, we surely got a lot out of that Somnium. It's just that we didn't know what all that meant at that point.
As a result, you had no choice but to release me. I didn't want to go home right away. I knew there might be police waiting for me. That would make it difficult to sneak out at night. And that would put my plan in jeopardy. So I asked you to take me to Marble. I tried to find an opportunity to run, but then another unexpected event occurred. I got a Nile message from Ota.
Yeah, I guess so. And decided to use Ota to make your getaway.
I knew I could use him. So I told him I needed his help and to meet me at Marble. He did as I instructed him to do. After that, I got into the van with Ota. But because his presence was unnecessary, I asked him to stop at a convenience store to buy me something to drink. When he was gone, I took his car and drove to my parents' house where I used to live. Yes, the Sejima residence. Of course, I knew I couldn't just walk up and ring the doorbell. Hello, Father, it's been a long time. I was also in Iris's body at the time. But I thought I could use that to my advantage. So I pushed on the intercom and sure enough, my dad invited me inside. I told him this. I want you to come with me. There's something I need to show you. He was quiet for a while, but eventually agreed and got into the van with me. We arrived at the prototype sync machine around 11:50 p.m. By the time I was in the body of Sosajima, it was a new day.
Alright. Continue.
This was yesterday, early Monday morning, past midnight. In my new body, I drugged Iris, put her in the van, and drove to a new location. Okiura Fishery Cold Storage Warehouse. I arrived around 1, then prepared for the show for a couple hours. Of course, when I say show, I mean dismembering Iris. Because of the temperature in the warehouse, it took longer than I expected to prepare, but... well, you saw it in the video. Of course, I didn't anticipate Ota would show up. What does that make it? 3 times that brat has showed up unexpectedly? That annoyed me to no end, and I took that out on him.
Well, he does have a knack for that.
Dressing him up in the polar bear was an impromptu plan on my part. I didn't mean to make you think he was the killer. I just wanted to throw a wrench into the investigation. Didn't matter if you found out or not.
I see.
This all happened Monday morning. I left the warehouse around 3:30 a.m.
Alright.
There isn't much to talk about on Monday. Before noon, I used my old man's body to call this one Boss. You might not know this, but she and my father go back about 6 years. The two shared a terrible secret. Hinting at that was enough to get the boss to come running to me immediately. I injected her with a sedative, then brought her body to the chemical plant.
And did the switching.
I synced with her, exchanged our bodies. And after blowing my father's brains out, I cut his body into pieces. I stuffed the meat into a vase I'd brought earlier, then drove back to my house.
I see. Saito spoke with grace and no sign of remorse. I was trying to keep my anger from boiling over and kept asking him questions. Yeah, he surely feels nothing about this. He surely is screwed up. Why did you take out your victim's eyes?
You know all about the prototype sync machine, don't you? That should explain it.
I knew that the prototype sync machine differed from the one at the Abyss in a few key ways. The machine at Abyss is more sophisticated. Nano cables from the sync gear enter through the gap between the eyeball and socket. They then travel down the optic nerve canal. to the brain. The prototype sync machine isn't so advanced. To perform a sync, you need to remove the left eye, manually. The subject and the syncer have to remove their eye from their socket. Otherwise, the cables cannot enter the brain. I see. However, I think that this is the confusing part. At first I was thinking about the eyeball and what it meant. Meaning that the Cyclops killer definitely used that sync machine for something in particular. But as time went on, it starts to make me question. For example, you are here, Saito, but you still have your eye left. So, what's the deal with that? Of course, even with the eye removed, severing the connection to the brain isn't necessary. The extracted eyeball still has the optic nerve and blood vessels connected. After sync, the eyes are supposed to be replaced back in the socket. It's supposed to be safe. Side effects are rare. Unless the nerve or blood vessels are damaged somehow, replacing the eyeball isn't too difficult. I guess so. I guess that's the explanation. Even though something tells me that there's a lot more to taking an eye out and replacing it in your head. I think that there's more to it than that, but... I mean, I doubt it's that easy. Why did it take out your victim's eyes?
Of course, I don't really care about eyes. I don't need them. All I cared about was exchanging bodies with the sync. And for that, I needed to remove the left eye.
Why didn't you just put the eyes back when you were done?
Yeah. And not only that, we found Shoko's eyeball inside Renju. You ate it while you were inside Renju's body. Why would you do that if you didn't care about eyeballs in the first place?
That's obvious. Once I was finished transferring into a new body, the old one was of no concern to me. Why would I bother replacing the eye? I was just going to get rid of it anyway. Shoko's is in Renju. Renju's is in Iris. Iris's is in Dad. Dad's is in Boss. Their stomachs, I mean.
You sick bastard.
Huh. You know, I've met my fair share of crazy killers, but you surely are a textbook example of a psychotic killer, that's for sure.
Yes, I ate them. Immediately after exchanging personalities.
How does it feel to eat an eyeball?
How horrible.
What is your motive behind?
Homicide is my hobby. I have a tenacity for it, what can I say? Of course, it was also necessary to make sure people kept their mouths shut. If I took over someone's body, they would know about my crimes. I couldn't risk them reporting me, so I killed them. It was also a matter of revenge. Against you.
Date?
It's personal. That's why I chose people close to you as targets. Well, except for my father, of course. That was personal to me. But don't ask. It's embarrassing.
Revenge against Date?
This series of murders was like a journey for me. You know, traveling through bodies to finally reach the end. That's the thing about traveling. You always wind up in the same place, don't you? Where do you think that is? Your home. A trip is only complete once you return home. The same goes for me. When I return home, my travels will come to an end.
No. No, you don't mean what I think it is. Date?
So I'll be needing it back. My body.
What?
You stole my body. You took it from me 6 years ago. That's why I want revenge.
What are you talking about?
You have no idea what it was like inside my own head. I miss it. I miss my brain, Date. No matter how many people I killed, it never worked. I never felt happy. I feel miserable.
You mean?
He was born with a brain dysfunction. Due to damage to the posterior pituitary gland, he was unable to properly secrete oxytocin.
Oh, that's right. My old body.
And yeah, I guess that explains why he feels so miserable. In Date's body, when Saito was doing the killing past 6 years ago, he was definitely feeling happy, but now that Saito is switching bodies left and right, he doesn't feel that.
How are you finding it, Date?
You're saying that this body is yours. Are you not pulling our legs here?
That's what I've been telling you!
But I don't have the same oxytocin deficiency you did.
That is because I regularly supplement it.
What?
They must have increased your dosage too much.
No, but
Oh my god. Is that it? That's why Date is taking medication? I thought it was something... No, that can't be it. I thought it was just something regular. I don't know. I didn't put that much fun into it. So you're saying that Date was taking dosages of medicine because of the levels of oxytocin in his body?
The person who had this disorder was number 89, the original Cyclops killer.
That is what I believed as well, but we must have misunderstood. Pewter did not specify who exactly was imprisoned.
Oh my god. It could very well be that at some point in the past, back when Falco was free from prison, before he was imprisoned, Saito was inside Falco's body. Peter never knew that though. The only thing that Peter thought of at that point was that Falco had that level of insanity of Saito, but he never thought of the body switching.
Only that one of the original culprits responsible was currently in prison.
That's strange. That would mean number 89 is the previous chairman, Rohan.
That must be it.
Or maybe that. Yeah. And let's not forget about cooperation between Saito and Rohan. They both work together at that point.
Rohan is a parasite inside number 89's brain. Pewter must have known that.
He had?
No way.
He knew? I was confused. I didn't understand any of it.
Let us determine the specifics using Saito as our starting point. Whose brain was he in before Boss?
So Sejima.
And before So?
Iris. And before that, Renju. And before that, Shoko.
And before Shoko?
That's... we surely don't know that. Whose body were you in before Shoko?
I was a parasite inside Rohan's brain 6 years ago until last year.
Huh. I guess so. I guess that's why Rohan was acting so weird in his last years, before his death.
I'd lost most of my memories. I was a shell of a man. They housed me in a special hospital, but I still had those fragments of my mind left, just as I explained earlier. From a single piece, you can recreate the whole. I took my time, slowly regaining my memories. 1 year ago, I remembered everything. I left the hospital and immediately sought out Shoko Nadami.
Huh. So that's where you were all this time. That's why you were so inactive all those years.
I got her body, and she was in Rohan's. When she saw herself in the mirror, she lost her mind. She was confused, panicking, running up the emergency staircase, and then...
That's why Rohan committed suicide.
After that, I spent a year perfecting my plan, using Shoko's body.
Wow. I guess so, never mind. I guess that's how Rohan died. Or, okay, Shoko died in Rohan's body.
I spied on you all this time. That's why I know everything about you.
Okay, well, who are you before Rohan, though?
In that body you are operating right now, in that skull, my personality lived there.
Wait, hold on. If what you're saying is true, what about my personality?
It was in Rohan.
What?
I'm not Rohan!
Correct. It is just as he explained earlier. Number 89 was in Rohan's body. In other words...
I real?
Huh. Now it makes sense. Now we know why Date had those weird flashbacks of young Iris. Those were old memories of Falco. Which means that Dato is Falco.
Sorry, but time's up. I want my body back.
Yeah, as if.
It's quite simple. Sync with me and stay inside my mind for more than 6 minutes.
And if I refuse?
I know that you won't. I know it.
Huh?
Date, look! This is streaming live!
Oh god. Saito, what the hell did you do? Oh god, Hitomi.
Damn you!
If you give me back my body, I will give you the location. Oh, and of course, it isn't the chemical plant in the Kawasaki district.
Aiba, where's the source?
It is being routed through numerous IPs.
Which means we surely cannot find it that easily.
I cannot identify the source.
Computer, contact headquarters, now!
Got it!
Now, what will you do? Will you agree to my request?
Alrighty then. We're gonna play by your games for now, Saito.
Date!
See? I knew you wouldn't refuse. I know you well, don't I, Date?
Police headquarters, Tuesday, 4:28 a.m.
I did it. I did it. I'm back. I got it all back!
Hey, where's Hitomi?
All right. I'll tell you as promised. Boss's house. However, it might be too late by now.
You son of a bitch.
What?
Oh god.
Why?
Return my body and I'll tell you the location. That's what I said. I didn't lie. I kept my promise.
You bastard!
You're the one who injured that body. It's your own fault, really.
Damn it.
Be seeing you.
Aiba.
Date, are you alright?
Yeah. It's good that you intervened there, Aiba. Now we have Saito. Aiba's voice barely resonated. My eyesight was hazy. heap of broken images. Sweat was building on my palms. It felt like my throat was closing up, and I was struggling for breath. In my ears, the rushing blood of my heartbeat was the only sound.
Everyone's dead.
Shoko, Renju, Iris, Ota, Hitomi, Boss. The flesh remains, and the mind is lost.
I couldn't do anything. Saito had me right where he wanted me. Nothing. Nothing.
Parallel worlds exist.
The words suddenly echoed in my head. I couldn't remember who, or where, or why. But I thought that if there really was such a world, then me, in that world, truly. Maybe in this timeline we haven't succeeded, but we surely will in the next one. We just have to do it right this time. I is another.
Could I have had a better future?
I prayed that I could. I felt my consciousness sink into a black abyss.